The stars looked different from the glass dome of the Veldari High Council chamber. Taiho stood alone, watching the faint red glow that grew stronger each day. His people had lived among these stars for thousands of years, but soon their home might be gone forever. "Ambassador Taiho, the council is ready," said a soft voice behind him. Taiho turned to face his assistant. "Thank you, Nari." The council chamber held 12 seats arranged in a circle. 11 were filled with the oldest and wisest Veldari. One seat remained empty, saved for emergencies when an ambassador could speak directly to the council. "Ambassador, we have little time," said Elder Wanho, the head of the council. "Tell us what you have found." Taiho walked to the center of the circle. "The decay spreads faster than we predicted. Our scientists give us 3 cycles before it reaches our home system. No Veldari solution will work." Murmurs filled the chamber. The Veldari had solved every problem they had faced for thousands of years. "Then we are lost," said Elder Wanho. "No," said Taiho firmly. "Not if we ask for help." The room fell silent. The Veldari had never asked for help. They were the helpers, the guides, the wise ones of the galaxy. "From whom?" asked Wanho. Taiho touched a small device on his wrist. Above the center of the chamber, an image appeared, a blue-green planet circling a yellow star. "From them. From Earth." The council erupted in angry voices. "Humans? They barely leave their own planet. They still fight wars among themselves." "They would not understand our problem." Taiho waited for quiet before speaking again. "I have studied them for 20 cycles. Yes, they are young. Yes, they make mistakes. But they think differently than we do. They see patterns we miss. They find solutions where we see only problems." "They are children," said Elder Wanho. "Children see things that adults miss," Taiho replied. "Our ways have not changed in 1,000 years. We need new ideas." An older female council member named Ji spoke up. "The law is clear. We do not interfere with developing worlds. The law also says we may break silence in times of greatest need," said Taiho. "If our civilization ends, what good are our laws?" The council talked among themselves while Taiho waited. Finally, Elder Wanho spoke. "We have voted. 7 against 5. Your request is denied, Ambassador. We will face our end with dignity." Taiho bowed and left the chamber, but he did not return to his quarters. Instead, he went to the communication center deep below the city. Subin, the night operator, looked up in surprise. "Ambassador, it's very late." "I need to send a message, Subin. A very important message." Subin hesitated. "I would need council approval for any official message." "This isn't official," said Taiho. "This is about survival." After a moment, Subin moved aside. "I will take a short break. The system is yours for 15 minutes. Taiho worked quickly, preparing the message. He included basic translation codes, mathematical proofs to show intelligence, and images of the quantum decay that threatened his people. Most importantly, he added the solution theories that had failed, hoping the humans might see something the Veldari had missed. As he prepared to send the message, Taiho knew he was breaking their oldest laws, but something about the humans had always fascinated him. Their creativity, their determination, their ability to overcome impossible odds. If anyone could help, it would be them. The message launched toward Earth, riding a specially modified signal that would reach the planet in days rather than years. On Earth, in a small listening station in the mountains, a computer began to beep. Minji looked up from her coffee, annoyed at being disturbed during her night shift. Nobody ever called the station. It existed only to monitor space for possible signals that never came. But tonight was different. The computer screen flashed with a pattern unlike anything she had seen before. Minji called her supervisor Jinwoo, who rushed to the station. They watched the message repeat 3 times before Jinwoo reached for the phone. "Get me the science director," he said, urgently, "and wake up Doyun from linguistics. Tell him to bring his translation software." For the next 3 days, the best minds in the country worked to understand the message. When they finally realized what it meant, the president called an emergency meeting. An advanced alien civilization is asking for our help? He asked, looking around the room filled with scientists and military leaders. Minji nodded. Yes, sir. They're facing extinction from something they call quantum decay. They've tried everything they know, but nothing works. And they think we can help? Us? The president looked doubtful. They believe we think differently, said Minji. Sometimes a fresh perspective is all you need. The president stood at the window looking at the night sky. Send a reply. Tell them we're coming. The conference room buzzed with voices as world leaders argued about the alien message. Minji sat quietly, studying the strange symbols on her tablet. 6 weeks had passed since they received the call for help from space. We can't risk our resources on what might be a trap, said one leader. But if it's real, we could learn so much, argued another. Commander June stood up. His military uniform was perfectly pressed and his face showed no emotion. Whether it's a trap or an opportunity doesn't matter. Someone out there asked for our help. We should answer. The room fell silent. Minji smiled. She had worked with June for the past month, translating more pieces of the alien message. Though they were very different, she quiet and thoughtful, he direct and practical, they had become a good team. The aliens call themselves the Veldari, Minji explained. Their star system is being destroyed by something they can't stop. They've tried everything they know. Why ask us? Someone questioned. We barely have space stations beyond our moon. Because we think differently, June replied. Sometimes the oldest, wisest person in the room doesn't have the answer. Sometimes you need a child to see what everyone else has missed. 3 days later, the United Nations voted. Humanity would answer the call. The real work began. Scientists from every country joined together. They built a ship unlike anything seen before. They called it Odysseus, after the ancient hero who journeyed far from home. It won't work, said Dr. Kyung, the head engineer. The drive system is too experimental. We need years of testing. We have 6 months, June told him. Make it work. Somehow they did. The Odysseus took shape in orbit, assembled by teams working day and night. Inside, it had room for a crew of 12, the best minds Earth could offer. Minji hadn't expected to be chosen. She was a linguist, not an astronaut. But when the final crew list appeared, her name was there. You understand them better than anyone, June explained when she questioned it. We need you. The night before launch, Minji couldn't sleep. She stood by the window of her room at the Space Center, looking at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Veldari were waiting, hoping. Scared? Asked a voice. June stood in her doorway. Terrified, she admitted. He nodded. Good. Fear keeps you sharp. He handed her a small wooden box. My grandmother gave me this when I joined the military. It's supposed to protect travelers. Inside was a simple bracelet made of dark wooden beads. Minji slipped it on her wrist. Thank you. Launch day arrived with clear skies. The 12 crew members said their goodbyes. Some had families crying and waving. Minji had no one. Her parents had died years ago. Science had become her family. Ready? June asked as they boarded the shuttle that would take them to the Odysseus. No, Minji answered honestly. But let's go anyway. The Odysseus was beautiful. Its silver hull gleamed in the sunlight. Inside, everything was new and untested. The crew moved to their stations, checking systems, preparing for the longest journey humans had ever attempted. All stations, report. June called from the command chair. One by one, the crew confirmed they were ready. Communications ready, Minji said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Earth fell away beneath them as the Odysseus moved to its jump position. The experimental drive hummed, building power. Jump calculations complete, reported Hyun, the navigation officer. We're locked on the Veldari coordinates. June looked around at his crew. We're about to go farther than any humans in history. No matter what happens, remember why we're doing this. Someone asked for help. We answered. He pressed the activation button. Jump drive engaged. The ship shuddered. Stars stretched into lines of light around them. Minji gripped her console as pressure squeezed her body. The ship creaked and groaned, like it might tear apart. Then silence. Status report, June called, his voice hoarse. Hull integrity at 82%, someone reported. Navigation systems rebooting, said Hyun. Minji looked at her screens. Communications functional. Slowly, the view screen came back online. Instead of the familiar stars of home, they saw new constellations. And ahead, a red-orange star with planets circling it. We made it, whispered Yunha, the ship's doctor. We actually made it. Begin scan for Veldari signals, June ordered. Let them know we're here. Minji sent the message they had prepared. Minutes passed with no response. Then her console lit up with incoming data. Commander, she said, I'm receiving coordinates for approach. And a message. What does it say? June asked. Minji looked up, her eyes wide with wonder. It says, we never truly believed you would come. The damaged Odysseus limped toward the Veldari homeworld. Through the view screen, the crew could see a planet unlike any they had imagined. Floating cities connected by shimmering bridges hung suspended in the orange-tinted sky. It's beautiful, whispered Minji, pressing her hand against the glass. And old, added Hyun, studying the sensor readings. These structures show signs of weathering that would take thousands of years. A soft chime sounded from Minji's console. Commander, we're being hailed. June straightened his uniform. Put it through. The view screen changed to show a tall, slender being with pale blue skin and large, dark eyes. The alien wore simple robes that seemed to shimmer with their own light. I am Ambassador Taiho of the Veldari High Council, the alien said in perfect, if slightly formal, Korean. On behalf of my people, I welcome you to our world. June stepped forward. I am Commander June of Earth. We received your call for help. Taiho bowed slightly. You have traveled far, and at great risk. We did not expect you would actually come. Yet you sent the message, Minji said, moving to stand beside June. Hope is a powerful thing, Taiho replied, even when logic says it is pointless. The Odysseus docked at a floating platform high above the planet's surface. The human crew stepped out into gravity slightly lighter than Earth's. A delegation of Veldari waited, their expressions unreadable to human eyes. Their technology is incredible, Yuna whispered to Minji. Look at the medical scanner they're using on us. It's like nothing we have on Earth. The Veldari led them to a vast building with walls that seemed to be made of living crystal. Inside, a circular chamber waited, much like the one where Taiho had first proposed contacting humans. The full council was present. 11 ancient Veldari studied the humans with a mixture of curiosity and doubt. Elder Wanho spoke first. You have broken our laws by coming here, Ambassador Taiho. Then punish me, Taiho replied calmly. But first, let us hear what these humans have to say. June stepped forward. We came because you asked for help. On Earth we have a saying, a friend in need is a friend indeed. We don't know each other yet, but we hope to be friends. Some of the council members shifted uncomfortably. One leaned toward another and whispered something. They think we're primitive, Minji realized suddenly. They're surprised we can even speak properly. Elder Wanho gestured to a display in the center of the room. This is what threatens us. We call it the quantum decay cascade. The display showed a wave of energy moving through space, breaking down the very fabric of reality as it passed. It started 2 cycles ago at the edge of our territory, explained a female council member named Mina. Nothing stops it. It consumes everything, matter, energy, even space itself. Hyun studied the display closely. May I? He asked, reaching toward the controls. After a moment's hesitation, Mina nodded. Hyun adjusted the display, zooming in on the edge of the decay. It's not consuming space, he said. It's changing it. The fundamental laws of physics are being rewritten. Yes, said Mina, looking surprised. That is correct. We've tried every solution our science can imagine, Taiho explained. Nothing works. Because you're trying to stop it, said Hyun. Maybe it can't be stopped. The council room fell silent. Then we are doomed, said Elder Wonho. Not necessarily, June replied. Sometimes the best way to deal with an unstoppable force is to move out of its way. That evening, the humans were given quarters in a crystal tower overlooking the largest Veldari city. Minji stood on the balcony watching the strange double moonrise. They're afraid of us, she said when June joined her. Not of us, he corrected. Of what we represent. Change. Unpredictability. Their civilization is millions of years old, Minji. They've forgotten how to adapt. And we're experts at adaptation, she said with a small smile. It's what humans do best. Back on the Odysseus, Hyun worked through the night, studying the data the Veldari had shared. Just before dawn, he called June and Minji to the ship. I think I understand what's happening, he said, his eyes red from lack of sleep. The quantum decay isn't just changing physics, it's changing the rules of what's possible. And the Veldari can't solve it, Minji began. Because they only know how to think within the rules, finished June. Hyun nodded. Exactly. But humans, we break rules all the time, said Minji with sudden understanding. That's why they called us. The great hall of the Veldari Science Academy buzzed with voices. Humans and Veldari stood in small groups, pointing at displays and arguing over calculations. After 3 weeks on the alien world, the humans had learned enough of Veldari science to join the conversation. Hyun stood before the main display, trying to explain his idea to a group of older Veldari scientists. Their faces showed no emotion, but their stiff postures told him they didn't like what they heard. It's impossible, said senior scientist Kido. Your solution violates our mathematical principles. That's the point, Hyun replied patiently. The quantum decay changes the rules of physics. We need to change our rules too. Elder Wonho entered the hall with Commander June. The room fell silent as they walked to the center. The council has reviewed all proposed solutions, Elder Wonho announced. None have proven viable. The decay will reach our home system in 20 days. June looked at Hyun and nodded slightly. Hyun stepped forward. I have a new approach, Hyun said. We don't try to stop the decay. We don't try to move away from it. Instead, we change with it. Murmurs filled the room. Elder Wonho raised his hand for silence. Explain, he said. Hyun brought up a new display showing waves of energy. The decay rewrites the laws of physics, but it follows a pattern. If we can predict that pattern, we can build a device that changes with it. A device that violates our current understanding of physics cannot work, said senior scientist Kido. It can if the laws of physics are changing, argued Hyun. Think of it like music. When the key changes, you must change your notes too. Younger Veldari named Dohyun moved to stand beside Hyun. I've reviewed his calculations. They're unorthodox, but the logic is sound. It's more than unorthodox, said Elder Wonho. It's dangerous. Such a device could accelerate the decay instead of managing it. We'll build a small prototype, suggested June. Test it on a minor decay front. If it fails, we try something else. The council debated for 3 days. In the end, they voted against the human solution. But Do-hyun came to the humans' quarters late that night. I can help you build your device, he said. I have access to a private laboratory. Minji looked worried. Won't you get in trouble? Do-hyun's expression was hard to read, but his voice sounded sad. My family lived on the first world lost to the decay. I have nothing more to lose. They worked in secret. Hyun designed the core system while Do-hyun gathered the materials they needed. Yuna helped build the delicate inner components. Minji kept watch and managed communications between the team members. It's ready, Hyun announced after 5 days of non-stop work. The device was small, about the size of a basketball, with a glowing blue core. How do we test it? Asked Do-hyun. We need a small sample of the decay, said Hyun. Is there a research station near the front? Do-hyun nodded. Yes, but it's heavily guarded. Only council-approved scientists can enter. Then we need a council member, said June. To everyone's surprise, it was Elder Wanho who helped them. He arrived at the secret lab the next morning. Ambassador Taiho told me what you're doing, he said. I don't approve, but I cannot ignore any possibility of saving our people. With Elder Wanho's help, they transported the device to the research station. Through a thick protective window, they could see the edge of the decay, a shimmering curtain of energy that twisted reality itself. The sample chamber can be used to bring a small amount of the decay inside, Elder Wanho explained. Hyun set up the device while Yunha monitored its energy levels. Minji and June watched nervously from the side. Ready, said Hyun finally. Elder, Wanho activated the sample retrieval system. A tiny fragment of the decay held in a special container moved through the airlock into the test chamber. Activating now, said Hyun as he pressed a sequence of controls. The device hummed to life. Its blue core began to pulse, matching the rhythm of the decay sample. For a moment, nothing else happened. Then slowly, the decay sample started to change. Instead of breaking down the matter around it, it stabilized, becoming a small, glowing crystal. It worked, whispered Do-hyun in disbelief. Elder Wanho stared at the results. Impossible. Not impossible, said June. Just a different way of thinking. That evening, Elder Wanho called an emergency council meeting. The humans presented their results. The Veldari scientists argued and debated for hours. Finally, Elder Wanho raised his hand for silence. We have lived by our principles for thousands of years. They have served us well. But now to survive, we must learn something new. He turned to the humans. We will build your device the full council approves. As they left the council chamber, Minji touched Hyun's arm. You did it. Hyun shook his head. We've only just started. Building a device large enough to handle the entire decay front will take everything both our peoples have. Then we'd better get to work, said June. The massive stabilizer array stretched across the valley, its blue-white light pulsing in rhythm with the approaching quantum decay. Thousands of Veldari and humans worked together, making final adjustments as the countdown continued. 10 hours until contact, announced the automated system. June stood on the control platform with Elder Wanho and Ambassador Taiho. Below them, teams rushed to complete the last connections. Will it be enough? Asked Elder Wanho. His voice, usually so confident, now held a trace of fear. It has to be, June replied simply. The design had grown from Hyun's small prototype into something unprecedented, a network of stabilizers that would channel the decay energy rather than resist it. Building it had required both human creativity and Veldari precision. Minji approached the platform, data tablet in hand. The translation teams have finished programming the adaptive algorithms. The stabilizers will adjust to changes in the decay pattern automatically. In the week since the council had approved the project, Minji had led a team of linguists and mathematicians, creating a new language to bridge human and Veldari thinking. The stabilizers would use this hybrid language to interpret the quantum decay. Hyun wants to see both of you, she told June and Taiho. He's at the core chamber. The core chamber sat at the center of the array, a dome of crystal and metal housing the heart of the system. Hyun stood beside the main control panel, his face tired but determined. We have a problem, he said when they arrived. The power fluctuations are stronger than we predicted. The core might not hold. Can we strengthen it? Asked Taiho. Hyun shook his head. Not in time, but there is another option. He pointed to a secondary set of controls. We can manually adjust the resonance frequency as the decay approaches. It would give us more flexibility. But that would mean someone has to stay in the chamber during activation, said June, understanding immediately. Yes, Hyun confirmed. I've already volunteered. No, said June firmly. I'll do it. Commander. Hyun began to protest. That's an order, said June. You're needed for the technical oversight. I can follow instructions. As the final hours passed, The sky above the Veldari world turned strange colors. The quantum decay approached, bending light and reality before it. Minji found June in the preparation room, putting on the protective suit he would wear in the core chamber. "You don't have to do this," she said. "We could try remote operation." "Too risky," he replied. "Someone needs to be there to make adjustments if something goes wrong." Minji took the wooden bracelet from her wrist, the one June had given her before they left Earth. "Then take this back, for protection." June smiled as she tied it around his wrist. "I'll return it when this is over." "Promise?" she asked. "Promise." 3 hours later, June sat alone in the core chamber. Through the crystal walls, he could see the decay approaching, a wall of shifting energy that made his eyes hurt. "Contact in 5 minutes," said Hyun's voice through the communication system. "Remember, when I give the signal, adjust the resonance dial to match the frequency I call out." "Understood," June replied. The minutes passed slowly. June thought about Earth, so far away. Had their message gotten through? Did his family know what he was doing now? "Contact in 10 seconds, announced Hyun. Core activation beginning. The chamber filled with blue light as the core powered up. Outside, the entire array began to pulse with energy. "Contact," said Hyun. "First frequency, 5.8. June turned the dial, watching as the core's light shifted slightly. The decay hit the outer edge of the array. The ground shook. Warning alarms blared. "Frequency 6.2, called Hyun. "Quickly." For 20 minutes, June adjusted the core as Hyun called out changes. The chamber grew hotter. Parts of the control panel sparked and smoked. Then suddenly the shaking stopped. The light outside changed from angry red to calm purple. "It's working," said Hyun, his voice filled with disbelief. "The decay is stabilizing. We did it, Commander." 3 days later, Minji stood with the other humans on the observation deck of the Odysseus. The Veldari world below them looked different now. The decay had changed it, but not destroyed it. New types of crystal had formed in the atmosphere, catching the sunlight and breaking it into rainbow patterns. Ambassador Taiho and Elder Wanho had come to see them off. The farewell ceremony had been long and formal, with many speeches about cooperation and friendship. "Will you visit us again?" asked Taiho. "If you'll have us," replied Minji. She wore June's bracelet again, returned as promised after the crisis had passed. "We have much to learn from each other," said Elder Wanho. "The Veldari have existed for thousands of years, but we had forgotten how to change, how to adapt. You reminded us." "And you showed us what we could become," said Minji. "If we work together." As the Odysseus pulled away from the Veldari world, Minji joined June on the bridge. The ship had been repaired and improved with Veldari technology for the journey home. "Earth received our message," said June. "They know we succeeded." "What do you think will happen when we get back?" Minji asked. June looked at the stars ahead of them, the same stars that had once seemed so distant and unreachable. "Everything changes," he said. "They called to us. We answered. And now both our worlds will never be the same." On Earth, scientists gathered around screens showing the approaching Odysseus. Behind them stood world leaders and ordinary citizens, all waiting to hear the story of humanity's first great adventure among the stars. And far away, in the depths of space, other civilizations watched with interest as humans and Veldari formed the first interstellar accord, a promise of friendship and cooperation that would one day extend to the farthest reaches of the galaxy.